Instead of the upcoming Spider-Man film featuring Tom Holland, the Hulk, and the Punisher, imagine a third amazing Spider-Man film with Andrew Garfield, the Sinister Six, and a clone of Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy. That's right, in today's video, we're breaking down the Unmade Amazing Spider-Man 3. Welcome back to Wishlist Cinema, where we break down all the best superhero movies that were never made. Before Tom Holland joined the MCU, Sony had big plans for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. They weren't just thinking sequels, they wanted an entire Spider-Man cinematic universe. The film that was meant to kick off this universe was The Amazing Spider-Man 3, officially announced with the 2016 release date with numerous villains, plot twists, and more. However, after the mixed reaction from the underperformance of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, plans shifted, rewrites piled up, and the spin-offs like Sinister Six and Venom started crowding the roadmap. Add in behind-the-scenes clashes with Sony and Andrew Garfield himself, and suddenly, The Amazing Spider-Man 3 was gone. Sony even formed a writers' brain trust of established writers to map out a Spider-Man cinematic universe. By late 2013, Sony revealed its first two spin-offs, Venom, which we got, and Sinister Six. The strategy was clear. Spider-Man would anchor the universe, while villains got their own films. Unfortunately, Sony's planning didn't anticipate the poor performance of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It grossed $709 million worldwide. While still a decent release, it was the lowest in franchise history. Add to that poor reviews criticizing its crowded story, it already wasn't looking good before what happened next. The Sony hack, as it was called at the time, gave an inside peek at the issues around the Spider-Man cinematic universe. Emails showed internal talks with Marvel about rebooting Spider-Man in the MCU and also exposed Sony's frustration with Andrew Garfield, who had skipped a key corporate event. By February 2015, the writing was on the wall. Sony announced a deal with Marvel. Garfield was out, and Amazing Spider-Man 3 was cancelled. So what was the film actually going to be about if made? The film was designed as the darkest chapter of Garfield's trilogy. Mark Webb said it would dig deeper into the conspiracy around Peter's parents and Oscorp's experiments. A deleted scene from the previous film showed Norman Osborn's head preserved in cryostasis. Chris Cooper confirmed Norman was supposed to return in a much bigger way in his next film, with Harry Osborn's Green Goblin still seen as the main bad guy. However, he would have been joined by villains teased in Oscorp's vault, Dr. Octopus and Vulture. Paul Giamatti had already been confirmed he was coming back as Rhino. Together, this lineup pointed straight to the Sinister Six finally assembling. Giamatti was quoted as saying, "I'm coming back for more. I've signed on for a couple more movies. I don't know what they're gonna look like, but Rhino's not done yet," which confirms the ambitious plans by Sony at the time. Aside from the villains, Shailene Woodley's Mary Jane Watson, cut from the previous film, was meant to debut helping Peter to move on after Gwen's death. And Dennis Leary revealed he was told of a plotline revolving a formula at Oscorp that would regenerate the dead with the potential return of Captain Stacy. The creative team was playing with some shocking ideas, including bringing Gwen back from the dead. All in all, the film would have ended with Spider-Man facing his biggest challenge yet. A team of villains united under Oscorp, with Norman Osborn pulling the strings in the background. Sony's grand plan for a sprawling Spider-Man universe suddenly looked shaky. In February 2015, Sony struck a deal with Marvel to reboot Spider-Man inside the MCU. That meant Garfield was out. Mark Webb's trilogy was cut short, and all planned spin-offs were cancelled or reworked. By July 2017, Tom Holland was swinging into theaters with Spider-Man: Homecoming, leaving Garfield's story unfinished. When interviewed after his exit, Garfield was even quoted as saying, "I signed up to serve the story and the character, and then it gets compromised. I got heartbroken a little bit. I didn't compromise who I was, and that might have been difficult for some people." And that's the story of the Spider-Man sequel we never got. So would you have wanted to see The Amazing Spider-Man 3, or was rebooting into the MCU the better call? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into unmade movies.